Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. The comments are going to be very interesting on this one. Should Marcus Rashford stay at Manchester United? Well, in light of the last few hours, you might have some strong opinions either way on that, because Garnacho's post as well. What do we do next? Is there a get out? Can we remove these players? Should they be given other opportunities? It's a mess. So we've had a really... we've had news this weekend. Marcus Rashford obviously has been training hard for a new season. He's been out in Spain. He's done an interview. He's basically said that Yamal should win the Ballon d'Or, that he'd like to play for Barcelona, and that Thierry Henry is his idol all of a sudden. We've then got Garnacho wearing a Marcus Rashford shirt in an Aston Villa shirt, walking around on holiday in Ibiza. And I suppose the question is, what do you do? Would you take either of these players back? Are they playing us for idiots? Are they just looking out for their own interests? Honestly, I think that the very, very obvious way, I'm trying to think of the word, not pragmatic, the sensible solution is not to get frustrated. The sensible solution is to say that Manchester United have survived far bigger setbacks than Garnacho wearing an Aston Villa shirt and Marcus Rashford flirting with Barcelona. And when I say setbacks, I mean, we've been relegated in our past. We've lost to Spurs in a Europa League final. We've had our worst ever Premier League points total. And obviously, Manchester United have certainly dealt with far bigger, serious things than this. So what I would say is, it's a bit of a storm in a teacup. But it does matter. I mean, I've seen some people saying, he's just wearing a Marcus Rashford shirt. What's wrong with that? I mean, look, there's player FC and then there's stupid FC. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you wish Rashford or Garnacho all the best. That today, and Rashford commented on it, he knows what he's doing as much as Garnacho. They know what they're doing. They want to leave Manchester United. And the real problem here, having had a bit of time to think about it, is Garnacho is free to wear an Aston Villa shirt with Marcus Rashford on the back. Rashford is free to say he wants to go and play for Barcelona and that Thierry Henry is his idol, even though he never would have said it a few years ago. They are free to do that. The circumstances have changed. Garnacho was dropped for the Europa League final for Mason Mount. Marcus Rashford was dropped against Man City, never played again, and was basically called lazy. They have a right to react, whether it's professional or not. What Manchester United need to do is react like a football club that's got a set of balls and a backbone. It needs to stand up to people who have a right to come out fighting. And Marcus Rashford is basically saying, I haven't got a future at Man United. Ruben Amorim's made that very, very clear. And I'd love to play for Barcelona. And basically, he's glowing Barcelona up. If he can get that move to Barcelona, well done. Don't look back. And we won't look back either. Move on. If Garnacho is saying, I want to go and play for Aston Villa and that's what I want to do, and if he gets that move and he proves that he's a brilliant player, then he's done what's best for him and Rashford's done what's best for him. We have to do what's best for us. I would argue with anybody that says there's a way back for Garnacho. There isn't a way back. He's behaved like an immature little child, and it's not our job to keep trying to make him grow up. Maybe a new scenery with a new manager and a new motivation is the best thing for him. And I think it is. And I still think he could be a really good player. And if I was Aston Villa, I'd say, I think you might get a good player with a really good manager and you play wingers and it could work out really well. I don't know whether I could say I wish Garnacho all the best because I think he's shit on the fans. And that's where you cross the line there. With Marcus Rashford, so I don't see a way back for Garnacho. He's got to be get out and go. There can't be a way back because the trust is gone. And it's like a relationship, isn't it? You can get with somebody that you love and you can see their deficiencies and their weaknesses and you can put up with those because the positives outweigh the negatives. But when the trust is gone, I don't think it really matters. And the trust is gone now when it comes to Garnacho because what he's done is petulant, ridiculous, and everything else he's ever done, I think that, there's always been another side to the story, whether it's liking posts, funnily one of my posts about Ten Hag, or whether it's, other things that he's been accused of, leaking teams, interview after the cup final. You can always find context, but there's no context to wearing a Villa shirt that in the summer when you're a Man United player. So you've got to go. The trust is gone. With Marcus Rashford, I personally don't think there's a way back anyway, because I think Ruben Amorim, when you look at him, is very, very stubborn when he makes his mind up. He doesn't care whether you're the best paid player, the fans' favourite player. if you look at what he did at Sporting, he will remove you and he won't change his mind. So I don't see a way back for Rashford and Amorim because I don't think there's much of a relationship there. So whatever we think is irrelevant. And I think we also do forget that Jadon Sancho doesn't want to play for Manchester United, that Garnacho doesn't want to play for Manchester United, and Rashford probably doesn't want to play for Man United either. So we're not actually in the position of power to decide whether they should play for Man United again or not, because I don't think any of them want to. But with Rashford, I think the Amorim thing is the big thing. I don't think, I think both have a right to feel that they have a status in the game. And I don't think that either is happy with each other. So I don't think that there would be a way back. And I think it would be bad for Rashford to come back to United for the same reasons as Garnacho. I think that he would find a lot of people have sort of given up on him. And I think that it wouldn't be a good place for him. And it wouldn't be good for Amorim because it makes him look weak when he publicly says a player's not good enough and then brings him back because the board above him can't provide him with what is needed. And I think that's the thing for me. My opinion doesn't matter, but you get yours in, because we won't make the decision. But my stance is, it won't happen anyway because of Amorim and Rashford's relationship. But if I was deciding, I would say no. And I would say no because it would be a statement of backward thinking, in the sense that we just had our worst ever Premier League season. You had this big Rashford's not good enough, and then he went to Villa and did okay, and the breakup happened. And then you get back together, not because Rashford wants to get back together or because Amorim wants to get back together, because basically they've been forced to back together. It would be an arranged situation where the board basically go, no one wants to buy you Rashford and we can't afford just to loan you out and pay you to play somewhere else. And we can't buy you the players you want, Amorim. So basically, you better just work together. And that would be a step backwards, because that would basically be whatever Amorim's trying to build, he can't build it, and he's having to take a step back. And whatever Rashford wants to be, he can't be it, and he's having to go back to Man United. That, to me, is just not the way. You've got to part ways. It's the right thing to do. They have to part ways. So, no, I wouldn't take him back. I don't see a scenario where he comes back. Look, if Rashford came back and Amorim, and it was a genuine make friends, never break friends, and Rashford was top scorer in the Premier League and Man United got in the top 4, we'd all be really, really happy. But would you trust that? Would you trust that could happen? Would you believe in that? I don't think we could. I don't think we could. So I don't see a way back for Garnacho. He's got to go. And I thought that before the Instagram post anyway. The Instagram post doesn't change anything. He's not got to go because of the Instagram post. What he's done with the Instagram post is basically send a big up yours to all of you lot. With Rashford, the interview with Barcelona doesn't bother me that much. I actually think he's basically being an agent. He's trying to get himself a move which benefits him and Man United. It's an acceptance that it's over. He said it himself in January that maybe it's time for a fresh start. So you can't say maybe it's time for a fresh start and then, when asked about Barcelona, say, no, I really want to go back to Man United. I think he's doing the right thing there. What everybody needs is a bloody clean break. What we need to stop is the brandified point scoring to try and win the argument. And I think that is sort of the world we live in now with Player FC and brands. We have created monsters in the sense that footballers are almost bigger than football clubs. I mean, I don't know what the social media following of Garnacho and Rashford is, but it's significant. I mean, it won't be as big as Man United's, but it will push maybe other football clubs. And these footballers become islands, and they become idols, and they become, brands in themselves, and they have to protect those brands. And I think United just need to cut ties. When Sancho was at Chelsea saying freedom, really, he's not a Man United player, he's a Chelsea player. He's just trying to antagonise Man United and saying freedom for whatever reason. If Rashford permanently leaves Man United and Garnacho permanently leaves Man United, yeah, okay, there might be past digs at us, but as long as we move on with the likes of Cunha and Burmo and hopefully a Gyökeres type striker, I don't really care about their moaning, because it's a bit like breaking up with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and they break up with you and then they're slagging you off for the next few years, but you meet somebody else, get married and have kids, and you're just happy and you're like, I don't care. I'm glad we've broken up. If you want to slag me off and everything like that, that's why I wanted to break up anyway. I'm really happy now. That's what United need to do. I don't want to look back in anger at Garnacho, Rashford or Sancho. In a way, I hope you go and do well. I certainly think if Rashford gets a move to Barcelona, he could do well. If Garnacho gets a move to Villa, he could do well. Maybe Sancho going back to Dortmund, he probably would do well. What does it matter? As long as we replace them with players that are going to help us build a better future, everybody can live happily and be successful together. I don't really care. And that's what United need to do in my mind. We need to stop looking back, because overarching all of this, you can be frustrated with the club, you can be frustrated with the players, this, that and the other. But ultimately, what we need is change. We can't just keep going on around this. We had this with Sancho last summer and we've got it again. We had it with Rashford in January and we've got it again. We need to cut ties, they need to move on, and we need to move on. And actually, the real blame lies with the club, who stay silent all the time. At least, I'm not actually, I nearly said it. I'm not saying what Garnacho did is good, but he's trying to make something happen. He's trying to get the move he wants. Rashford's trying to get the move he wants. Man United are silent. Slow. They could lead from the front here as well. And that's what we need. Amorim, I think, sits there probably with a smile on his face and goes, Garnacho and Rashford have proved me right. I said in January they haven't got the attitude I want. And here we are in June and they still haven't. They've proved that. I was right. Even though I had a really bad season, I was right about them. Get me the replacements in. They can't play for me again, so get me replacements in. He's probably in a position of, comfort. The club, it might not be so comfortable, but they have to do what their job is. Ralph Rangnick did an interview, I think, I read it last night, and he basically said, I don't know who does what at that football club. Neither do I. But they need to step forward and start doing something. They've always been shit at selling players. The onus is on them. These players want moves. The club need to facilitate them. What we don't want is some back and forth argument for weeks and weeks and weeks. If all you can get is 35 million for Garnacho, you take the 35 million. Whether he's worth 60 or not, circumstances dictate that he's not. We've not handled this very well. For whatever reason. You might put it down to the fact that he was unmanageable. He was always going to behave like that. But when you've got a player after a Europa League final saying the club's shit, and when you've got a player walking around on holiday in an Aston Villa shirt, that is belligerent. That is bad attitude. That is out of control. Many people would go, just take the money and get rid. Don't try and win points. At the end of the day, if he's gone, he's gone. United need to start doing that. But the problem is, Jason Wilcox might be saying, look, let's take the 35 million, move on. It's pure profit. We can work with that. You might have the Glazers going, no, we want 60. And if you've got that, you've got a problem, haven't you? Get your comments in below. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Bit of bonus content here, but we didn't get to talk about the Rashford show on the stuff on the evening show, and I don't like to leave a topic out there, and I'm sure on the 10 o'clock show, we'll have news to react to. So get your comments on that. Would you take either back? What are your thoughts on the situation? What's the best course of action? Smash a like and subscribe. I'll speak to you on the next one.